Does that just reduce poundage as well?
It does a little bit.
Yeah.
Feel how light it is.
You see how those knuckles roll?
Yeah.
And then these two fingers, they won't wrap, they won't do anything like this, but they'll just touch in front. So it'll be a broken wrist palm in, and I'll show you why. The second I do that heavy grip, see where I'm at here? And then my wrist will break, so when I'm at full tension here and I shoot, the bow's gonna do nothing but turn. But the second I do this, two things happen. One, I get this separation. So incorrect and correct. So I get this separation, and then it's hard for me to break the wrist. And see the knuckles at an angle?
Yeah.
And then the fingers in front. And so you'll shove down. Like if you had two balance beams, you were jumping up on them, you'd land like that. Or if you just relax your hand and you raise it, and then you bend the wrist back, see it goes right into that grip.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's looking really good right there. So then your pressure point's right here, so it's like a shove.
Okay.
And then what that does is that takes all, the torque out of the wrist.
Okay.
But, when you're at full draw, the string will be more, corner of the mouth and tip of the nose. So every time it'll come in like this.
Okay.
And then the beard, the beard will actually kick the bowstring. And so when we get to tuning, we might not have a problem with it, but we might have a problem.
Okay.
And so I've even had guys that shaved a lightning bolt, so their string had come back in and not touch any whiskers. It's crazy. They did it on both sides. So, but I've had beards actually kick the string because you're in full let off. You're in 80%, and so then when you fire it, it goes. When it jumps, it goes so quick. So then it kicks the string this way, and then it overcorrects like a car skid, and it comes off like this, and you'll get a tail right rip. And then, I'll have a guy like this shoot, and it'll tail rip, and I'll have him pull it away, and it's a perfect bow hole. But we'll, like I said, that's not 100%. Everybody's different with that, so we'll see how that comes. But, the main thing is the front grip, and I run everybody kind of through the same thing. It's like playing baseball, baseball player steps up and he sets his feet, he sets his hands, and he does everything to take one swing of that bat. Well, it's going to be the same with you. So I usually start everybody with, this is an open stance. So it pulls the shoulder over and you create a triangle. Sometimes that's comfortable, and there's not a right way for the stance. For me, it's the opposite. It's a closed stance. So this foot is square and this foot's slightly back. And so for me, the point of this hip right here points exactly at my target. So if I set my feet before I ever draw, and my target animal's in front of me, so I'll point it with the hip. When I draw, the pins are already right on his side. And you'll develop that over time of what's comfortable. And there's a way to discover it is take your finger, close your eyes, close your eyes, and then just open one eye, cover your target with the end of your finger so it covers it, close both eyes, weave and bob, and then open the eye. And your body will find the path of least resistance. And if it's to the left, of the target, well, you would close it up a little bit more, and you'd keep doing it to where you open the eye after you do your weave and bob, and your finger will still be right on it. And what that does is that shows you where your path of least resistance is. So when you draw, boom, the pin's right on there. Because for years I shot tournaments, and a lot of outdoor tournaments and stuff, and you'll come up to a stake and it'll be all dug in. Well, tournament shooters know that they got to get those feet set. So when they draw, they're not going to the target. I'm making that radical, but they're doing this. But sometimes you'll draw and you're not on the target and you have to do that. But if you learn how to set those feet, and same thing for like say you're calling elk, and you got a bull coming in and you're on your knees, and he's walking this way. Well, you can swing pretty good with him this way, but only so far, but you'll never go this way. So then you got to crawl on the knees to keep that hip, pointing at him like he's right there, because if he walks through, this doesn't work. It just does. It just doesn't work. You'll never hit him. So feet and knees are super important. Stance is as important as if you were playing baseball, because you never swing the bat if your feet weren't right? So it's the same thing. So feet, front hand, you know, anchor, and we'll work on that anchor. We'll try to get you. And let's look at this picture just for a second. Bam, bam, you're always hitting it. So it's a little bit uncomfortable. I like more of what Nathan's doing, and you'll develop it over time, but it's that knuckles at an angle.
Okay.
So all those foundational steps. There you go. And then let them curl and float down and touch. Now bring your head back to where your nose is actually touching. There you go. Tip of your nose. Try to put, yeah, like that. See, that looks great to me. And see your torso straight. You got a slight bend in the arm. The shoulders low. So that looks really good. There is such a thing as what works and not change it. But I mean, if we can, I mean, there is a good, what we call Olympic style form, which is, you know, the front hand, bottom of the jaw, corner of the mouth, tip of the nose, you know, 3 points of anchor, hand bone, jawbone never changes, you know. And I moved that up, so I think it'll be easier for you to get to the tip of your nose and the corner of the mouth. And then I always tell everybody, you know, to get into the finite, I mean, I notice your mouth, you're a little bit open, but I make a game face, and it's not gritting the jaws, but just
closed. Okay.
Just a good game face.
Okay.
Because if it's a big bowl, you might. Sure. And that moves the hand down. You know, I mean, really, you don't realize you're doing it, but I know I probably went, oh my God. You know, you're talking to yourself. But when it comes to the shot, you know, it's just, you know, you got to get into that serious, you know, crusher, you know, absolutely, you know, crushing moment right there. You got to come through in crunch time, you know, and to do that, every step has to be cemented. Okay, because unless you're just cold, you know, stone cold Steve Austin, it's really an animal you want to harvest. You know, you got to keep it under control, and the only way you do that is with the good steps. So pick it back up just a little bit and just barely touch. So,
yeah, much better.
Good, good. And see, we'll finite that, you know, when the time comes too. You know, we'll get all that set.
Yeah, that felt a lot better. It was more before. Felt like I had to almost lift up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, and fitting too. And when we go to fit, I'll have you come back. I'll have you very finite touch here, and then we'll just open and I'll have you actually touch your fingers on the trigger, and then I'll just have you open just the right eye, and you'll see that circle, and we'll get that circle. And what's important about that is, so you're hunting, you see something, you lock onto it, you come up, you draw, and boom. This is what you want. You want front sight, back sight to do this without losing focus, because if you have to look away to see through the peep, then to get the sight on it, it just destroys you, because that's precious seconds that you're wasting. Plus, you know, alignment isn't correct, and then if it's a low light situation, you want to be focused and not take your eye off of exactly where you're at. So we'll fit all that up and make it absolutely perfect for you. Good. And I'll show you why, you know, the release, you know, the letting go is important. So, you know, it's a couple fold. One, you know, all handheld releases, you know, there's a hinge which, you know, when you draw, you know, you kind of drop the wrist, and then, you know, you just kind of pull with the backhand and pull, and it rotates and it goes off. Or then there's the thumb button, which is kind of should be shot the same, to where you grip and then it goes off. Well, the a wrist strap style, see, this has got all these swivels on it, so, you know, it swivels this way and then it spins this way. And if I hang on to it, you know, like this, you know, or like this, I can torque the string really easy. And, you know, when that string torques, you know, I barely touch on it. 80% let off. See the tip of that arrow? So I barely touch that string and it moves it a lot. Well, if I hang on to this, this should be like a plumb bob. It should, it should just hang straight and center itself every time. And if I hang on to it any way, shape, or form, I'll inhibit that, and I can never torque the same. Sense. And then the other thing is, like, I always try to pretend that my fingers are all glued together, and I come around, and then, you know, I just let the release rest on there, and then as I back tension and I squeeze, boom, it goes off, you know, as I aim. So, you know, that's kind of what I've always taught with index styles. And it'll kind of get you away from that punchy. And you know, this is actually dual brain function. I have to hang on to it and I have to squeeze. So, you know, every device that we have, you know, in this society is a point and shoot, you know, a cell phone, boom, you know, right? So you're hanging on to it and you're pointing it and you're clicking it. And then the same thing with a mouse, so it makes you kind of into a drive-by society to where, oh, the pin's there, boom, I'm shooting it. And, you know, where, like, did you drive down here or did he drive?
I drove.
You drove?
Yeah.
You didn't have to one time think about gripping that steering wheel, did you?
No.
No, it's subconscious. First thing you learn how to do as an infant is squeeze.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what the whole idea here is.
Okay.
Is, you know, this, once you just relax and you float down and you touch and make contact, then it's just a slow squeeze as you focus. So what it does is it puts all your aiming focus on the target.
Okay.
So,
Coming up first part of March. Same people who run the Portland show run the Bend one.
What's that?
Different vendors.
the thing is with
drawing bows, I mean, for guys with bad
the trophy taker requires a lot of cord tension. So these typically don't stretch out on you like the trophy taker does.
That's good.
So yeah, they're a lot better.
Do you need to borrow one of these?
Yeah, you've got to keep. I mean, if it starts to pick up, you know, here, you know, if this ever gets to where it's lifting up like this, I mean, you got to tighten the cord. And that one's pretty loose right there. I would probably put a little tension if I was, you know, dealing with that bow for tuning or something. I would probably put a little tension on it.
great little bows for
Is that your bow?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the strings that can go on it. You know, for because they graduate the cam, you know, 3 times on that thing. So we usually order all our Hoyt strings and we try not to stock them. So we would order it.
Yeah, but then if you're like, oh, you might come into 60, but I want to make sure that I have 20, 40, and 30 covered.
Well, next time he comes in, I'll have to drag him and make sure he buys one. You know, the verdicts would be good. The triax, either one, the triax or the verdicts, either one would be good for Todd because he has a shorter draw length. Yeah.
Guesstimate.
So what I'm doing here is 4-foot level is got a shim on it, so because these bows, the bottom limb is wider than the top, so the shim allows me to level the bow perfectly, and then we'll level the level. You see your levels, and, you know, I don't know, you probably can't see your level there, but your levels off to one side there. He's going to have a unique, and we might wind up changing this all again depending on where your pin winds up, because we want, for this long housing, to get your maximum amount of yardage, we want the pins towards the top. Okay. So we might wind up changing this again. But that's okay, it just takes a second, and it won't change the third axis, which with third axis we're gonna set to before we tune it. Just so we got that done. And then sight in, I won't have to worry about any of that. If they move together, that means the mainspring stretched a little bit. If they move one different than the other, that means this cable's stretched and this one didn't. So that's, and if it's a lot, like you can't see a bar, you know, then it probably needs to be addressed.
Okay. Is that something you keep an eye on, or something you'll notice too?
It'll be over time. So that's, I like FMJs. I mean, if you're open to FMJs, they're great arrows.
Yeah.
Perfectly straight, you know, they have a little more physical weight, you know, for penetration and for hunting, they're fantastic. And what I'm doing here is this is a precise way to set a third axis. It's really the only way to set a third axis. I'd never want to have to set a third axis without a hooter shooter. It's just hard. So I've got my Hamsky level. We set the second axis, and then we got your Hamsky on here, which the Hamsky's telling us that the bow is level. And so now the sight, this is third axis here, so, you know, and Dan's got kind of a unique way of doing that. So we're gonna look at the level here, and we're gonna make this level, which is telling us the bow's level. So that Hamsky right there is saying it's level, and see this level's not on. So we're gonna make this level and this level agree. And what that does is right now the bow's level, and so this isn't. So if you were aiming up or downhill, it would shoot right or left according to how you leveled it. But if we set this to where it agrees with that, and you aim up and downhill, you'll track. So you won't be going like this and thinking it's level. It is super important that those agree with each other. And like I say, without a hooter shooter, I would never want to try to set one of these because you just can't. You can't be precise with it. I can make both of them just perfect. And see, like right here, if you look at it, so walk around on this side, you'll be able to see it good. So I was off quite a bit, but see now I'm dead level here, and I'm dead level here. So I mean this is absolutely perfect. So now, I mean, if you had a 50 or 60 yard down, you know, shot downhill at this angle, or an uphill shot like this, and you level up, that arrow's going to track with your sight.
Gotcha.
And see, when those are off, you'd think you would be leveling, but you'd actually be tipping your bow quite a bit, and then you're going to, oh my gosh, why'd I shoot 8 inches to the left or a foot to the left, depending on how far that's off. So that's why that's always important, and especially important on a mover sight, you know, where this has got that moving track pin, because it won't track at all. I should probably get you a few arrows, you know, whatever you're going to want for arrows.
That's actually fun. We're also money cents that are here. 340, 29 and a half.
So, those not match grade. All should be match grade. That's an old set of arrows there. These are all match grade, regular all carbon 340s, and that's a great arrow. I mean, they're all weigh the same, and they're all really straight. Okay. You know, so you could do something like that, or if you wanted all F and J. there's two styles of FMJs. This one here, you know, is kind of a retro shaft. It's
like
kind
the
of cool.
aluminums.
Yeah, we've got some of those, and you get the diamond plate, you know, like that. And
Okay. How about 6? I guess 340. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna end up probably replacing before hunting season.
okay.
Just something I can get used to the bow with.
Did you want to do the all carbon?
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then for this part of the hand, remember we're gonna roll and shove. So it's gonna be that a good front shove, just like that. See how that just kind of fits the hand perfectly like that. Yeah, that's really looks good. It's just like, there you go.
Push the beard down a little
There you
bit.
go. No, I like that. And go ahead and pick the nose up. Yeah, more like that. So is that low there? Is that a little
Yeah,
better?
that's actually pretty close.
Pretty close.
It's-
And like I said, we'll totally micro fit that one. Yeah, see, we're fighting just a little bit of kick.
Okay.
But see, you brushed it down that time and it went to a perfect hole.
Okay.
So
I
let's
noticed
shoot
when
it
I did it.
again and let's do the same thing. Yeah, there we go. There we're back. Paper will always show you as much about what you're doing because like that one you let up.
Okay.
So you collapsed a little bit and see the hole went down, but then you made a perfect execution on that. It was just 3 fletches and a hole.
Okay.
So, you know, paper always will show you how to shoot a bow.
Sure.
I want you to anchor, and just as you anchor, I want you to close your eyes. And then I want you to find all those good touch points. Yeah, like right there. Yeah, good. Bring the nose back just a little bit. Right about like that. So it's just maybe in just a little, right there. Be real picky about that. And how's that? Is that high, low? It's high. Okay.
No, I did not.
Okay.
But
So I'm going to try that very top
right where you
pin.
had it.
And
so
see the
I'm
4
forward.
targets? Yep. Shoot in the very center where all 4 are pointing.
better.
Where there's no
So-
target. Yeah. Because I don't know where it's going to hit, so that way we won't toast an arrow. And see, it's that low. So good spot. So we're slightly. The process is looking good though. I like it.
Somebody just let the market do what it's going to do, and then it's like home prices are going down, kind of right shape. Yeah, you sold it hard. Pretty actually. That's breathing too hard. 30 minutes. But I don't take a break.
Almost cut finger with scissors. And I don't know if they're like that.
Close enough. Perfect.
Awesome.
You bet.
All right, first real day shooting with it. Got the Carbon RX-3. It's pretty sweet. We got the option Archery sight, single pin with the flippable fixed pins. Comes with 4 of them. We got the Vapor Trail rest, fall away rest, and the Quivalizer. We've just put the sight tape on. We finally got it sighted in at 50, so we're just kind of messing around, firing some shots. easier than expected. Dead center.
I feel like we hit the same high left spot. That's what we were in. Yeah.